I reached 1800 in the first week of season 2 with the Frost Mage after reaching 2100 in the first season. The set in season 2 looks great. It looks like magic flows through me. Let me help you get it too in this insane melee and marksmanship hunters meta. For the talents, the only hero talent choice worth it for Frost Mage is Frostfire. Some things have changed from season 1. We are no longer leaning towards the instant cast build, so we are going for the caster build, which involves casting a lot of Frostfire bolts during Icy Veins. I will link the spec in the description down below. We are moving away from Everlasting Frost and Wintertide, which we used in season 1, to Ice Caller, because it will help us with damage to have Frozen Orb up as much as we can, and this talent reduces its cooldown by 0.5 seconds each time your Blizzard deals damage. And it helps with the freeze effects because it increases your Ice Lance damage and not only to the targets. And with the Frozen Orb, we benefit from instant blizzards which deal damage and slow the targets significantly. And they have a chance to trigger Fingers of Frost, which gives you the Ice Lance proc that makes it deal damage to the targets as if they were frozen, which means triple the base damage of Ice Lance. For the PvP talents, unfortunately, the Frost Bomb and Ring of Fire combinations are no longer worth it. Ring of Fire now replaces Ring of Frost and is dealing only 3% damage of the enemy's health and disorients them for 8 seconds. Ring of Frost freezes them for 10 seconds. And when the freeze expires, enemies are slowed by 65%, so it's a way better CC. Though sometimes I pick Frost Bomb for that extra damage instead of Concentrated Coolness, and I picked it wherever there were 2 melee targets on me for various reasons, like Frozen Orb just releases in front of you, so if I'm gonna show you, if you don't pick Concentrated Coolness, the orb just goes in front of you and basically in their face, slowing them down and damaging them. And then I could cast Frost Bomb, and in the event I get interrupted, I can go with Frostfire Bolt or Polymorphs or so on and so forth. This is just a personal preference of a talent change, by the way. You can swap Master Shepherd with Frost Orb if you want to, and also have Concentrated Coolness. So something like this. But the best combo I found so far is Concentrated Coolness, which lets you place the Frozen Orb wherever you want. Master Shepherd, which removes the healing effect on the polymorph target. Very useful, for example, when you face MM hunters, since they can deal a lot of damage, and it's a good CC to stop the burst train. And you don't heal the target, you can just continue damaging them. And I pick Snowdrift, which slows enemies, and if they stay in the AoE of it, they will get stunned. Usually in that stun, I sneak in some casts like sometimes Frost Bomb when I used to play with it, and now probably a Frostfire Bolt or a Polymorph to an off target or something. It's a good tactic to do. You stun them with Snowdrift and you just sneak in a cast right there so you don't get kicked. The stun is not only good for melees but also for pet zergs like BM Hunters pets or Demonology Warlock pets. And in some rare cases I swap Snowdrift for Ice Wall so I can isolate the targets away from their healer, so it's not a top priority choice, at least not from my clumsy fingers. But as I mentioned in the previous guide, that's pretty hard to pull off. Let's talk about rotation. So the damage rotation for Frost Mage goes as follows. So we have Orb, Blizzard, Flurry, Veins, Comet Storm, Pet Nova, Frostfire, Flurry, Frostfire, Lance, and then you spam your Frostfire bolts. You should be dealing a ton of damage. Throwing the second Blizzard in there, I didn't. See there, 1 million hits with Ice Lance. You can just cast these Frostfire bolts as long as your Veins duration. Make sure when you cast Flurry, you consume your Lance procs first, and then you cast Flurry again. See, I have Lance proc, I consume it. I don't have a Flurry proc yet. I'm just casting Frostfire bolts, maybe a Comet Storm in there. See, I got a proc. I consumed the Lance proc, then Flurry, then Lance. Tons of damage, 700k per lance. So you can see, even though we have like a fixed rotation, the rotation is still pretty much situational depending on the procs you get on the Frost Mage. Also, when you know you're gonna burst the target down, make sure you polymorph the healer. Like, you know, you're about to pop your CDs, you DB, you poly the target. Obviously I can't poly a target dummy. Then you go to your target, you go Orb, Blizzard, Flurry, Veins, Frostfire, Flurry, Lance, Frostfire. I forgot a Pet Nova. You can just apply it afterwards. Blizzard. Then you poly the target again. Then you continue casting your Frostfire bolts. Then you poly the healer again. Then you Lance, poly the healer again, as long as the DR allows it. Or who knows, polymorph a dangerous target that can stop you from bursting. It's not necessarily always the healer, but primarily should be the healer. Also, with this rotation, you can also throw in some Frost Bombs in there if you spec into it. And DR allows on a target basically 3 polys. After those 3, they're gonna be immune to it, so keep that in mind. Maybe after that you can poly a dangerous DPS. And when you see your Icy Veins cooldown is about to be done, like it's 10 seconds or less, you can pop Shifting Power to reduce your cooldowns on your defensive abilities and offensive abilities, basically. Also, when you're in a process of damaging someone, just spell steal a lot, as long as your mana allows it. So you can spell steal Druid Hots, Blessing of Protection, Blessing of Freedom, and many other enemy beneficial buffs. Priests basically have that at no cost, so them. On the subject of getting kicked while you cast some abilities, you should use precog, which is basically a socket in the War Within. I don't have it on a current season item because, you know, I just did it with honor gear. MMR is still inflated, thankfully, but you can see it here on a previous item. It is also called Cognitive Bloodstone. So yeah, socket that. It's pretty great. What happens with the precognition, basically, if you fake cast and an enemy kicked you, you're gonna be immune to kicks and immune to CC for 3 seconds. And keep that in mind that if you get kicked on one spell school, for example, you get kicked on some frost spell, I don't know, frost bomb or frost fire bolt, just cast a spell from a different school. If you get kicked on a frost spell, use polymorph, for example. If you get kicked on polymorph, use your frost spells. If you get kicked so much that you have no spells available, for example, double kicked, you're also use Shimmer when you are mid-cast to avoid melee classes, for example, interrupting you. I usually do that with Polymorph a lot, so yeah, I'm just gonna poly and mid-cast I'm gonna Shimmer to make sure I poly the target and I don't get kicked. Even with Ring of Frost, I'm gonna put the ring where the target is, and if someone approaches to interrupt me, I Shimmer, boom. Frozen target. I hold on a bit to this tactic when I face warriors, because he will charge, I Shimmer, he charges again, I use displacement, he charges again, I Shimmer, I usually put an alter time here, and if he heroic leaps me, I just alter time back to my position. Make sure you do that at full HP though, or as much HP as you can, so you don't revert to previous position where you had like low health. But otherwise, I try to mix a Shimmer in every cast I have. For CCs, we already mentioned DB Poly and Ring of Frost. Full CC duration, you can do like Dragon's Breath, Polymorph, and then put the edge of your Ring of Frost on the polymorph target so they inevitably walk into it and get frozen. This is a pretty good tactic. You can also use Ring of Frost on pets. Again, BM Hunters, Demo Locks. You have your Frost Nova that snares the targets. If you think Frost Nova is not enough, you could exchange Ring of Frost for Ice Nova. But if you kind of get the hang of the Mage, one Frost Nova is enough. You can use Ring for bigger CC moments. You have Snowdrift, which acts like a slow, and obviously after a short period is going to be a stun. You have Blast Wave to knock back enemies and also kick them. And last but not least are never-ending slows that are applied by Blizzard, by Frost Firebolt, and by Frozen Orb. For defensives, use Greater Invisibility for that 60% damage reduction for 3 seconds. Do not use it for its invisibility perk, because you almost never need that in solo shuffle. That's mostly for 2s when you play with a rogue or some other burst comp. And you know, you can use the element of surprise to burst the target down faster before they get heals or their defensives up. So how do you use it defensively? For example, when you know an enemy will cast a powerful spell, like Hunters cast Aim Shot and then there's gonna be a rapid fire. Or you see a Chaos Ball being casted and you cannot kick again and you cannot stop it. That's when you pop it. Basically, you see an Aim Shot being casted, Greater Invis. You're gonna negate 60% of the ability after that. So start with that. You obviously have your Ice Barrier, which absorbs 1.4 million damage for 1 minute. And you can reapply it pretty often because you have the talent Baron Diffusion, so whenever one of your barriers is removed, reduces its cooldown by 4 seconds. Use Alter Time, ideally at full HP, because it helps with mobility and HP. So for example, I click Alter Time, I'm getting bursted down, I have half HP. If I alter that full HP and I do alter again, I'm gonna return to that HP percentage I was at when I casted the alter time first time. So you can be damaged down to 50% HP, cast alter, and go back to 100% HP. I try to mix in alter a lot of times when I do my burst rotation as well, because again, Hunters could burst you down faster than you can burst them. So with that, I also deal a lot of damage, but I return to my full health without putting a lot of pressure on my healer. But watch out for purges of alter time, because priests can purge them, no cost. Other mages, shamans, demon hunters, so on and so forth. A good way to stop the purge, or at least delay it, you do alter and you put a barrier on you. So now they have 2 dispels before they get to the altar. So you can use this for mobility and also defensively. And do not mix alter time with the ice block. For example, if you alter time at low HP, which is a mistake, and then you ice block, and your ice block basically heals you with cryo freeze, and then your alter time gets triggered again, you're gonna return to that low HP point, even though your ice block healed you. So just keep an eye on your HP before casting Altar. And as mentioned, we have Ice Block, which is basically our immunity. And we're gonna have 2 charges of this because we're gonna use Cold Snap to reduce its cooldown. And when Hypothermia expires, you can just cast Ice Block again. We have our knockback, Blast Wave, which knocks away the target, basically helping you create some distance and also kicks them. You can use Blast Wave to just kick targets, not necessarily defensively, and a good Blast Wave could be a great kick and win you some games. For example, when we were playing 2s, I Blast Waved a Cyclone from a Druid, and I interrupted the Cyclone and pushed him behind the pillar, so he wasn't able to heal his DPS teammate, and basically my teammate killed the other DPS. Also, when your Ice Barrier is on cooldown, you can use Mass Barrier, which basically helps you and your teammates in need, because it also applies it to them. So additional absorb for you and your teammates. Sometimes if it's off CD, I also use it just for my teammates, so it depends on the situation basically. We also have Mirror Image, which basically reduces your damage taken by 20%, and those mirrors of you attack the target as well, so they act like pets. And we have our great racial Shadow Meld, because we always play Night Elf as a mage, of course, which essentially also breaks the enemy's targeting, and you can invalidate some damage coming your way, like if someone casts same shot, you're not gonna receive damage. If a Chaos Bolt is towards you and you Shadow Melt, you negate the damage. There are other less obvious damaging abilities that you can negate, but those are some of the obvious ones just to illustrate my point. For the gear and stats, it's the same as Season 1. We're gonna pick Haste first. We're gonna go for the 2 set for that Jackpot effect that fires a Frostbolt volley, dealing damage. The 4 set is terrible, by the way, so we don't go into that. We Socket, Haste first. We enchant primary stats. Basically, the Season 1 enchants are the same for Frost Mage. As you can see, I don't have them yet, because I got 1800 early and I'm not gonna enchant honor gear. So yeah, aim for haste verse. That's our best stats. And for the trinkets, of course, we're gonna get the equip effect trinket, not the usable one, and medallion, obviously. Again, very good gearing tips are on the website murloc.io, and you can see what most people use. So that's basically it. I'm gonna just go for the rotation one more time and actually include some defensives as well, so you can get a feel of it. So I'm gonna go Orb, Blizzard, Flurry, Veins, Comet Storm, Pet Nova, Frostfire Bolt, Flurry, Frostfire Bolt, Lance, spamming my Frostfire Bolt, putting my Altar because I'm probably bursted down by some other class. I Altar back. I see them using an offensive spell. I Great or Invis. I continue to damage. I use Comet Storm again. If someone is closing their distance to me, Frost Nova. Again, Frostfire Bolts, Flurry, Ice Lance. Flurry again, Ice Lance, Mirror Image for additional defense. I see a healer trying to save their target. Polymorph, if it gets kicked, I'm just gonna continue to pump Frost spells. Then I'm gonna try to DB Poly again. If I can't DB because I'm not close, I'm just gonna try to Poly and then Ring of Frost. And just continue to damage, and so on and so forth. You get the basic idea of it. Alright, so I hope this guide was helpful. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't and you have something to add, please let me know in the comments. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more Mage guides. I will see you guys next time. Peace!
Ruffix takes the battle.